And welcome to Catholics Coast to Coast. Always loving it just to hang out together. And in Podcast Central, where we get great conversations to deepen our walk with God. I'm Ace McKay, always glad to be along for the ride. So as you check us out, go to ewtn.com/podcast. And as you find conversations that you connect with, you can obviously continue to come back. They'll be here for you each and every week, but you can also subscribe wherever you like to stream so you don't miss future episodes. As we dive in this week, we're going to check in with the Catholic Momcast as they share how families search for support after their son's diagnosis that led to a mission of walking alongside and uplifting other families with children with Down syndrome. We join in the conversation with the Catholic Momcast on this week's Catholics Coast to Coast.
Welcome to the Catholic Momcast. Join us each week as our friends from CatholicMom.com and special guests gather to chat about all things faith, family, and fun. From the latest news in our community to the latest trends in our homes, we invite you to join the conversation.
Welcome to this episode of Catholic Momcast. I'm so excited to have a new guest with us today, Kathy Daub from Team Ironwill, and she's going to have an exceptional story to share with you, and I think it's going to just impress everyone and touch some hearts. So welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us, what is this Team Ironwill? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what this special creation is.
Yeah, so Team Ironwill is a Down syndrome advocacy ministry. And so my husband and I actually met doing pro-life work in Virginia. And we live in Missouri. We have 8 beautiful children. I got pregnant with Will when I was 48 years old. So he was like an incredible surprise. And we found out that he had Down syndrome. And he survived me going through a major surgery in the middle of pregnancy. I had a surgery that was required to save my life and his. And then he was born in the middle of the pandemic, right in June of 2020. And he had a traumatic birth as well. Like he had the cord wrapped around his neck several times. So he was a fighter from the word go. And in the delivery room, my husband nicknamed him Ironwill. Because we just thought that kind of encapsulated who he was. And then he had a lot of medical needs at the beginning of his life and a lot of therapy needs. He's very medically fragile. And so we had a lot of people kind of step in, mostly family and friends, and then some strangers step in and offer us support in all kinds of different ways. And during that time, we also had therapists coming to the house several times a week from an early intervention program. And we learned through them that not all families that have a child with Down syndrome have access to the things that we had access to in terms of the extra equipment and the extra therapies and medical equipment. So we had kind of developed this presence on social media, but prior to having Will, neither my husband or I had any social media. But when he was born, I realized like God was calling us to advocate for people with Down syndrome through Will, and kind of we needed to tell Will's story. So we started doing that and it exploded. We had, huge social media presence. And so we reached out to our own social media followers and said, hey, would you be willing to help us raise some money to help some other families in St. Louis that have children with Down syndrome get equipment? And they responded very well. So our first effort as Team Ironwill was to help our own early intervention therapists get equipment they needed to help other families in the Down syndrome community. And from there, it just kind of exploded. I don't know a better word to use. God, we just kind of told God, look, we'll do whatever you want us to do with Team Ironwill, and we'll keep doing this as long as we feel like you're the one steering the ship. And he's just opened door after door after door for us to be able to provide families in the Down syndrome community with equipment and therapy. And to date now, in 3 years, we've reached, I think we're up to like 37 different countries and 47 of states in the United States. So
wow, that is it's a short brief period of time. This started in 2020. Is
Yes, so he was born in 2020, but Team Iron really kind of kicked off, I would say, around 2022.
oh
Um,
wow.
because we were just busy those first couple years, kind of taking care of him. I mean, there's just a lot involved when you have a child with Down syndrome that has
Hmm.
some extra needs. And
Right.
so we were just solely focused on helping him. And in the meantime, learned, okay, there's a lot of other people that need a lot of help and because of the internet, especially, we've been able to offer speech therapy in particular to families, in 37 different countries that have access to nothing that we have access to. Um, so it's just been a huge blessing. I mean, he's a blessing in and of himself. He's been just such a gift to our family and to just the world, really. So we were excited to share him regardless. But then when we realized like there's this huge need, can we step in and walk with some of these families and help them see this life doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's beautiful. And,
Hmm.
it's just for us, it was such a relief to have people walk beside us. And we wanted to kind of pay that forward and, you know, be with families that were going through hard things and say, it's okay. We're going to walk with you through this. We're going to help you get access to all the things you need so that your child can thrive.
I think that walking with people is such a powerful, powerful, loving thing to do. If we could go back just a little bit, so
Sure.
I think that with all of the prenatal testing that goes on, you must have known that there was a medical problem, of course, that you were experiencing, but also I think they do some genetic testing, so you must have known that Will had Down syndrome, right?
Yeah, so we have 8 children, as I said. 7 of them are boys. So when we got pregnant with Will, we had 6 boys and 1 little girl. And we really only did the testing because we wanted to know, she wanted to know, am I getting a sister or am I
Oh
getting a
my.
brother? And so when the doctor called to tell us, you're having a little boy, then he said, I also need to tell you, he was a very pro-life doctor. So he was very
Yeah.
congratulatory about it. A lot of families don't experience that either. But he just kind of said, hey, we need to talk about something he does. There's a 99% chance that he has Down syndrome. And, just so we could kind of be prepared for what that might look like. And so, of course, even being pro-life and knowing we were going to love him no matter what, you still go home and you Google, right? I'm like,
Sure.
hey, what's this going to look like? And
Right.
the stuff that came up was terrifying.
Yeah.
Like my chances of miscarriage went up to 30% and would stay there for the entirety of
Mm.
pregnancy. And then you read about all the medical problems that could happen and all of these things. So, we were gripped by fear in that way. Like, oh my gosh, we love this little boy. Um, but there might be some really hard things. And then we also knew at the time, I think at the time that Will was born, 67% of children with Down syndrome in the United States that are found to have Down syndrome in utero are aborted. So you
Hmm.
have that knowledge, and that weighs heavy on your heart because we know we're bringing this little guy into the world, and we know the majority of people don't want him here, don't believe that he deserves to be here. And so that was overwhelming. And then when he was born, people came from all around the hospital to see him. They were like, oh, we just want to peek at this baby. We heard there was a baby with Down syndrome. We don't see many of those around here. And it's like,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
I'm just holding him closer and closer. And it
It's
was at that,
sobering.
it
But it's
is,
sobering to know
it
that
is.
that's even how the medical community is responding. So,
Yeah.
did you have people that were already walking with you at that point?
So family, I have a niece that has Down syndrome who's, gosh, she's 11 or 12 now. Um, My husband had a little brother with Down syndrome that sadly passed away when he was like 9 months old. So we had a lot of support, just mostly
Hmm.
family and close friends. Our circle was, the circle that we're in is very pro-life and very just welcoming of everyone. So we didn't really experience too much of the negative stuff in the beginning that most people would experience when they say we're going to have a baby with Down syndrome. So we were very blessed in that way.
But then the reality of medical needs probably was overwhelming,
It was
just
overwhelming. And that, and again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. In the first month, we found out he had some hearing loss. We found out he had a large hole in his heart that was going to need to be repaired. I found out both of those things by myself because at the time, my husband wasn't even allowed in the doctor's office with us. And then at 8 months, we found out he had infantile spasms, which is a rare type of seizure. And so he had to be treated for that. He spent a week in the hospital with reflux that was so bad he had to have a G tube. I mean, so we had I feel like we had medical like hit after hit after hit with him. But there was so much beauty in that too, because you get this opportunity to really surrender to God, right? I mean, I remember being in the hospital with him. He was vomiting nonstop, crying nonstop. I was by myself because again, my husband wasn't allowed we had to choose. One of us could be there with him. And I just remember thinking in that moment, like, I have a choice to make. I can drown in this moment right here, or I can accept that this is where God wants me and choose to be grateful about something in this moment. And so that was kind of the direction that I went. And, I just kind of leaned into what can we be grateful for in this moment. And, there's just so much beauty when you allow yourself to realize that suffering and joy can coexist together and that we can find beauty even in the midst of pain. And, if Will has taught me any one huge lesson, it's perseverance. I mean, because this kid, he fights through everything with a smile on his face. And so I was like,
he's got to be all boy now. What if he's 5, 6?
He is. He plays wiffle ball. He does trick shots. He does. He's all the sports. He likes football. He likes soccer. He likes baseball. I mean, he's just all boy all day long.
And so you must have had, you spoke about that you had access to things that other people don't. You must have had quite a bit of PT available for him as well as OT and just the medical needs that he might have had. How's he doing developmentally? Has that made a big difference for him, didn't it?
It really did. I mean, he is thriving. We have been able to get him access to everything that he needs. I mean, he's only 5, but he can read probably 50 plus sight words because
Wow.
visual memory is a strength for children with Down syndrome. And we found that out early on. And so we started doing these flashcards with him. So he's, reading sight words. He's got great gross motor and fine motor skills. He's way faster than I am. I mean, I can barely keep up with him now, but he's just kind of excelling at everything. Like it's just it's a gift to watch because, when you have Down syndrome, you have to work harder. He's got low tone. He's got some things that he has to overcome in order to achieve the things that seem quite easy for you and I. Even walking was a huge journey. And by the time he was 2, he took those first steps and then he didn't look back. He started running, climbing, jumping, but it was a journey, to get us to that point because and it's funny, you have to learn everything about the human body when you have a child with Down syndrome like that, because it's like everything is like teeny tiny steps. It's not just walking like it's like standing even requires all these different muscles that I didn't know existed and all these different exercises just to get him to the point where he could stand without assistance. So, and that makes all those milestones that much more celebratory. Like, we're all like cheering and clapping and crying when he took his first steps and
he's delighted with all the noise and the attention.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Obviously he had some very excellent interventions and assistance and programs for him. How did that benefit you?
Just to have access to that. I
Yeah.
mean, just it's just such a gift because when you have a child that has extra needs, I mean, the expenses are crazy. We already had 7 children, and that's in and of itself, there's expenses there. But to have people that are stepping in to your life through these early intervention programs, which here in Missouri are completely free to us, they come into your home. It was just a gift. I can't think of another word to describe it. And we made this assumption that everybody has access to the same things. And we were wrong about that. There are some states where people don't have even that level of access to early intervention that we had.
So what was that moment when you said that you were going to just jump both feet into this advocacy, I guess, is this availability of resources, education? I'm sure there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, so it was two things primarily. One, it was talking to our early intervention specialists who were sharing with us, like they're like, "Oh my gosh, you have a walker?" Like, you know, that's so awesome that somebody gave that to you because we have families that are on wait lists for walkers, or so it's this realization that we have had this incredible gift and we really want to pay it forward. And so that's one part of our advocacy. And then the second part is this realization when Will was first born, I made this assumption. I was like, okay, the Down syndrome community has got to be full of people who are pro-life, right? I'm like, these are going to be my people. And then I realized that's not necessarily true. Not all of these organizations that are out there believe in the value and dignity of human life. And so we realized there's also room for us there because we want to advocate for people who have Down syndrome from the moment God creates them. And so we realized there's kind of there aren't many organizations doing that. And we can kind of step into that gap and be bold and just, proclaim that our love of life and that God is the author of all life and that all children are precious from the moment they are created. But the reality of the situation is that our children with Down syndrome are not just aborted, but they're targeted. Like they're
I'm
targeted by.
I'm so taken aback by my not having made that jump that, of course, they might be bullied in school because I would imagine that, especially in public schools, there are services until students are 21, I think, or 22. And what that might look like in a community that is not um, understanding the dignity of the person, or even just being charitable, just being loving. But I'm sure that there's a lot of that you just want him to have the life that he can have, right?
Right. We just want him to be given a chance, just like
Yeah.
everybody else. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that we have people all the time that will come into our comment section or DM or email us and say things like, um, Down syndrome, it's a life of suffering.
Mm,
And my response is always, it's every human being created has a life of suffering.
that's
This is
right.
just what life is, and I tell people all the time, like, yes, Will has been in the hospital numerous times. Every time I'm in there, the hospital is full. We've even been in an overflow unit. And guess what? He's usually the only one in there with Down syndrome, which means that hospital is full of suffering children who
Hmm.
do not have Down syndrome. So this is not like why, as a society, we choose to focus on that is just it's beyond me. I can't understand it or figure it out because like we've got 8 children. They've all suffered. We've all suffered in our life.
Right.
No one's guaranteed a life free of suffering. But when you have a child with a diagnosis like Down syndrome, everybody wants to tell you from the moment you find out in the womb or from the moment they're born, they get put under this microscope and everybody wants to tell you, well, they might never do this. They might never do that.
Yeah.
They
They
might
treat it
have
like a
this problem.
sentence, right? They treat it like
Yeah,
it's a sentence for the child and for the parent as well. So
they
I think
do. And
that,
it's,
yeah.
just nothing could be farther from the truth because we just accept that, like, hey, we're all going to suffer. And does Will suffer in different ways than our other children? Sure, absolutely he does. But that doesn't make him less human or less valuable or less worthy of being given every chance at, you know, just making his way in this world and living up to his God-given potential and exploring the gifts that God gave him, because they are just countless.
I love that. And he's lucky to have you. Well, he's blessed to have you as a mom. The idea that we can be pro-life and only stay within the realm of abortion is really negating an entirety of life. And I hate to use the maxim of from womb to tomb, but it is so true. His life has value now at 5, at 20, at 30. However long God has him on this earth he's due the same love and appreciation and acceptance as all of us. So, wow, in how many countries are you in?
We're in 37 countries right now. We've been able to help families. And the
beautiful advocacy.
Yeah, and the coolest part for me are the moms that write back and say, I feel so seen and we are so overwhelmed. We had no access to this, and we're strangers to you, but you still reached out and gave us access to this, therapy. And just that idea of being seen and feeling that someone out there cares about your, struggle or your life is so important for people to know and to feel.
A mission born from love, need, and a deep faith. After navigating the early days of raising a child with Down syndrome, you want the full conversation from the Catholic Momcast. Just hang out at Podcast Central. Go to EWTN.com/podcast for more, or you can always subscribe wherever you like to stream so you don't miss future episodes. I'm Ace McKay. When Catholics Coast to Coast returns, we're going to check in on the Catholic Man Show, finding out that there is a difference between a household that runs because that you're holding it all together and one that's been designed to form your wife and children for heaven, and even in the midst of when you are not in the room. So this is great stuff. Dave and Adam finding the framework from the domestic church and also pulling from a book called Living Beyond Sunday. So we get what those telltale signs are when we return with Catholics Coast to Coast.
The destination for great Catholic audio programming is EWTN Podcast Central, featuring the best of EWTN radio, as well as faith-filled podcasts from our friends and affiliates across the nation, all in one place, all free. If it's central to the faith, you can find it on EWTN Podcast Central. It's like podcast heaven. Visit EWTN.com/radio/podcasts today. The manliness.
That felt good. It felt so good that, Dave, you had to start it over.
We made it through the warning, and I was like, I gotta go back. I gotta hear it again. Well, first of all, I haven't heard it in a long time.
So the second one was like, no. This one's for me.
Yeah. No, it absolutely was for me. I mean, I hope, if there's some people out there who need that warning, I hope it benefits them. But it was for me. It was. I mean, they didn't hear it twice. We heard it twice.
We heard it.
Everybody else.
We heard it 3 times. Actually.
But I encourage you on the podcast, go back.
Just go ahead and stop.
Just go ahead and start it over. Loop it back.
Let's go ahead and start the podcast back up. Over.
Yes. Because it's good. It's good.
It is good.
Gosh.
That was.
It's a throwback. It's a throwback.
It's a throwback. Yeah. When you're doing this for 10 years.
I know, man.
Deep tracks. Felt good though.
Yeah.
Blessed Holy Week to you.
Thank you. And to you.
We're about to enter into, as of this recording, we're about to enter into Holy Triduum. Indeed. Which will be somber but loved. There was our friend Deacon Garlic. He had a homily last week, and it's on his Twitter feed. You can go, or X feed, whatever. You can go listen to it. But it was so good. He was talking about how a carpenter makes a table, not knowing who the table is for, not with the that person in mind, but God makes you specifically with you in mind and has for all of eternity. And how, as we enter into Holy Triduum, to the holiest week of the year, this is a week of love.
I was actually there for that homily.
Oh, so no kidding!
I got to hear it. It was wonderful. He had to take it out, to take some of those parts out. But
what do you mean?
Well, because of some of the extra things in the liturgy on Palm Sunday with all the extra readings, he was notified that he would have like 6 minutes, and so he had to pare it back a little bit. But it was a great homily. He started off by saying, "You are a thought of God. You are a thought of God made flesh." Right, and just about the reality of reality was very interesting. He pointed out how you think of things because they exist, whereas things exist because God thinks of them.
And if he stops thinking of them,
yes, then they will stop to exist. Yeah,
to exist.
Right. That even in the midst of your most heinous sin, God is loving you into and willing your existence, even at the moment of the utmost betrayal. Think about whoever the person is who has committed the most offensive sin. Like somebody holds that title, right?
Judas,
and we maybe possibly Judas. Yeah, he's a strong candidate. And whoever that person is, though, we pray that they're in heaven, that they repented, because repentance is 100% available to whoever that guy is, the worst person ever to exist. But even at that moment, God was still willing them into it and holding them in existence out of sheer love, even though they were sitting there twisting the knife at that moment, so to speak. God still loved them and willed for that person to go on existing. Even in that moment. It's not like he said, all right, these moments I actually don't will you to exist.
Right.
We'll pick back up here in about 10 seconds.
Right.
That's not what he did.
After your stupidity.
Yeah. He willed the existence of that person even in those moments. That's how profound his love is for us.
Hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember if I told this on the story on the podcast or not, but I had at least told you that Luke won tickets to a concert over the radio a radio station, local radio station here. He called in, and there was a trivia between him and another caller. So they would ask trivia, and he had to answer, and he did a fantastic job, and won tickets. Well, we didn't realize it, but the tickets are for Good Friday.
Oh.
And when we realized it this last week, we said, Luke,
you can't go to a concert on Good Friday.
Luke, he goes, hey, Dad, when's that concert? And I go, this coming Friday, because I wanted to see what he would do. And he goes, like Good Friday? And I go, yeah. He goes, well, we probably shouldn't go. And I was like super proud of him because I thought like,
you'll have to buy him tickets to
something else. Yeah. But I was super proud of him that like that was his reaction. I was afraid it was going to be like he was going to say like, well, after we go to Stations of the Cross, can we still make it?
Can we still make it? Yeah.
But who could blame him?
Right. Because has he been to a concert before?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably been to like performances, something concert-like.
But not like music.
Not a real official concert, yeah.
But I was really proud of him for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Way to go, Godson.
Yeah. Way to go, Luke. Mary is having a procedure done tomorrow in hopes of helping her get better. So that will be hopefully a good procedure that will kind of expedite some of her growth.
Yes.
So regardless of what time you're listening to this, just offer up a prayer. God works outside of time.
He's outside of time. He can take your prayers and apply them to the right moment.
Right. So I'm grateful for that. And this episode is actually the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it has directly affected my life recently. And so it made me stop and consider some things that I had not really considered or like pondered in a while. And I thought, well, if I'm the one, if I'm struggling with this, maybe somebody else might be as well. Maybe somebody will find some.
I'm excited
some
about
fruit.
talking about our subject today, our topic, because as I was reading over the notes, I was thinking to myself, oh, well, yeah, I'm totally this person. Oh, I'm totally, I was raising my hand at a lot of points going, yep, that's me. Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
So, I think just about everybody is going to be
feeling that way.
So, but I think hopefully it'll give us all something to really think about in the way we structure our household and our family.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the home today. It's really interesting that as I'm building a business, which I haven't really made public yet, but I'll go ahead. I can.
Well, the monkey's out of the bottle now, bro.
Yeah. So I have started a digital marketing agency called M6 Marketing. M for Minahan, 6 for 6 kids. People ask like, why M6? That's the reason. Super creative. But M6
as creative as the Catholic Man Show.
As creative as the Catholic Man Show. But as I'm building a business, there's just so many parallels of building a business and building your home, and how the duties that require me to be a husband and father, and how I've kind of had to train myself over the last 12 years to be a father, and over the last 14 years to be a husband. How much of that training has helped me in building a business. So I also just recently started a Substack not too long ago, which if you want to go check that out, you can just go to Substack and look up The Grounded Builder, where I talk about virtue and business and fatherhood and a little bit of homesteading. Just kind of, I do one article a week on Thursdays. They're released. And so go check that out.
Only yesterday, I found out what Substack was.
Only yesterday?
Only yesterday. And I had heard people talk about it. And I could tell by those conversations, contextual clues, which is something I'm very good at. Very contextual.
Is this kind of like one of those chapstick face chap?
It's like, I get the sense.
Snap face?
My senses are telling me I don't want anything to do with that. And I was correct. Some people love it. People are way into it. Let me tell you what. There are things that are insanely popular that everybody loves. Good people. Real good people. That they love these things that I hate. Things like emails.
Mm-hmm.
Hate them.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the big one. Substack is sort of like an article in an email.
It's a blog.
It's a blog, but it's sort of like more email-y blogs, even though it's articles. It's not emails.
Right.
You may have come some intimate knowledge of White Lightning.
Poetic knowledge.
Yes, poetic knowledge. That's exactly the knowledge I was thinking of. White Lightning is a work of it's a magnificent work of creation. Came out of the year 1989. It's a real strong year. Oil prices were much lower than they are now.
Technology, though, the technology
fewer
market,
computers,
completely lower,
completely different. In some ways, better.
It's much better, yeah.
In some ways, it was better. Okay, but there was a company called Chevrolet who produced a miraculous piece of equipment in that year. It was
like a rock.
Chevy Silverado. That's Ford.
No, Chevy was like a rock.
Chevy's like a rock?
Yeah. Built Ford tough.
Ford tough. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I have a 1989 white. Well, now it's white. Chevrolet. 1500. It's incredible. The thing's a workhorse. I know it's not supposed to haul the amount of like today. I picked up over 2,000 pounds of feed. It's not supposed to haul that much, but she do. Okay, she just does. She doesn't complain about it.
You're gonna let another man tell you how much your steed can haul?
That's right. So I'm at the gas station, fueling her up on my way out, about embarking on this voyage, and this woman comes up to me and she says, "I'm so sorry to bother you. Can I ask you a question? Where did you get that truck?" And the thing is about White Lightning, she's had some cosmetic, some might say upgrades, some might say this. Okay, it's painted white. It's white. It's a white truck. If you just look at it,
would you say primer white?
If you just like from sort of a good distance, if you just look at it, be like, it's a white truck. If you get closer, you realize, well, it's a white truck now, but it used to be a red truck. Okay, for instance, you know that little like air guard that's at the very front of the hood?
Mm-hmm.
That broke off like at some point recently, and so that part's red. They didn't take that part off to paint it. Okay, so because it was tinted, you couldn't see
right
behind it. It's sort of like
and
nobody moves.
They didn't rattle can this either. They brushed painted.
Yeah, exactly. So this woman, she comes up, she's like, "Where did you get that truck?" And I said, Bristow? No, that's not it. It's someplace south of Tulsa. And she goes, "Was it Haskell?" And I was like, "Yes, Haskell." And she goes, "Oh, that was my dad's truck." And I was like, "No kidding." And like, I looked at her and I was like, "Yeah, I kind of recognized her." And anyway, like when I went to go buy this truck from this old man, he was an old man, like couldn't hardly get out of his chair. He was, there's a reason why he was selling his truck and stuff. And I ended up talking to him for about an hour, just, chatting it up with this guy. I'm sitting nearby and he's giving a really good price on it and just trying to be polite, talking to the guy. So anyway, she's like, "Oh, he died a couple years ago." And I just can't, it just like totally touched this woman that.
Did you give her the truck?
No, I didn't give her the truck.
Dude, do you have even a heart? Let me chisel some of that ice from your heart for my whiskey glass.
No, I have to have this truck. It's my truck. I love this truck. Okay. And I told her that. It's like, oh man, I could never part with this truck. I mean, we just kind of came up and she didn't ask me for it. Okay. But it was just such a serendipitous meeting. And like, it was a really great story. And it, she took a picture with it. And she did.
It's her new profile pic on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean,
on Substack.
And the thing just, it's just a good piece of history.
Yeah. Well, I hope that thing lasts you for another 20 years.
I do too.
I hope you can pass it. I hope that is Davey's first truck.
I have thought about that, and it's not safe, really. It doesn't stop very well. It has some. Look, she's got a lot of.
She's old.
She's got a lot of character.
Yeah,
but
she's experienced.
It is solid metal truck.
Yeah. Well, very good. All right, let's jump into the topic.
Very good.
So we're gonna talk about the home today, and like how the home is supposed to form the domestic church, meaning your vocation, namely your wife and your children.
When you say the home, what all are you thinking about? What is all included in this? Obviously, the house,
mm-hmm.
the physical building.
Mm-hmm.
What beyond that physical?
Everything inside of the home, and then your whole, like all of your property,
mm-hmm.
and everything all the activities that go on in said property.
So the house and the accoutrements thereof. Do the people count as part of the home?
Well, I think that the people, you can't have a home. You can have a house.
You can't have a home without people.
Yeah,
right.
You can't. You can have a house. There's a building,
mm-hmm.
but like the home, like this is what they always say. You give your wife a house, and she makes it a home.
Yeah.
And the reason why it becomes a home is because there is love that enters into this place that creates a home.
Gotcha.
In fact, I was reading actually this essay by John Cuddeback, Dr. John Cuddeback, who we've had on our show. He's a good,
Great guy.
He's a great person to. He's a great professor. He's a great Catholic man. He's a great husband, father. Somebody we look up to for sure.
Fantastic social media follow.
Yes.
Really, you know what? I'll bet that guy's got a Substack.
I bet he does.
I'll bet he has a better Substack than you do.
I bet he does. You're right. So this episode is built upon kind of some of what I've been going through, but also I was reading this book called The American Catholic Land Movement, which I am going to strive to not make this a homesteading episode because there's
who's that by?
It's edited by Jason Craig and Jared Stout.
Yeah,
but it has
that's an older book though, isn't it?
No. No, they just put it together.
Okay,
it actually just came out by Tan, and it's a whole host of different essays by Dr. Jared Stout, Dr. Alan Harrelson, who we've had on the show, Father Francis Bethel from Clear Creek, Jason Craig, and John Cuddeback. Anyway, so I was reading this essay that John Cuddeback wrote on the spiritually motivated homesteading, an answer to the 21st century. He's talking about the home, and he said the household that springs from a marriage naturally exemplifies truths of human nature. Put otherwise, the household has a kind of body and soul. The body is a very incarnate daily life. The soul is the pursuit of the spiritual, moral, and intellectual human perfections, all under the operation of grace.
Beautiful.
And so, a lot of what we'll talk about tonight is pulling actually from some of this. We're not going to use because he's making the example of how the homestead is and moving out into like land, the benefits and some of the spiritual warnings that he gives for moving out there and what the purposes of this would be. But so he talks about how the home should be 4 things. It should be conducive to marriage.
Yes.
It should be conducive to raising children.
Okay.
It should have a positive moral influence on all involved.
Yes.
And it should offer religious and liturgical formation.
Okay.
And that's what the home should encompass. Now he's bringing this into, like I said, a homestead, but I think you can actually take the
stead out.
Take the homestead aspect of this out. And so he says, what actual household, what is your household actually designed to produce? And how do we run the household? And there's this, kind of test that you can give. It says, if a stranger walked into your home for a week and just watched your daily rhythms, what would they say about how your household was designed to produce?
And by household, once again, we're talking about just the traditions you have as a family, as well as like the physical house itself. But it sounds more here like he's really getting at what are your family traditions?
The home has a body and soul composite, right? So the body, or like that, this is the analogy that he gives, right? Kind of a body soul composite. The body is the daily life, and then the soul is the moral, intellectual, and spiritual formation that takes place in the daily life. Okay. It's very easy to get sucked into just the daily tasks that you have to do in the business and not work on the business. Yeah. Meaning like the standard operating procedures that you have to put in place. What are the goals? Are we actually moving towards the goals? Are we not moving towards the goals? Like we're working on the way in which the business can be run versus
trying to make all the sales calls.
Which you can't do. And everything else, right. Implementation and everything else. And so again, there's a lot of times I think as husbands and fathers, we could be working in the family, but not on the family. We can be doing the things that we're supposed to do in the day-to-day life, like making sure we're getting them to school on time, making sure they're going to dance class, making sure we're, doing all the things that we have set up to do in life, but then not working kind of on life or on our family.
Yeah.
And so he says there's 3 signs a household is running on willpower instead of design. So this is kind of where
this is when I read this part earlier in your notes. This is where I was going. Like, yeah, this is me.
Right.
This is me. This is me. But I also thought this is probably everybody.
You think so? Yeah. Maybe so. I'm going to pull this up on my phone because for whatever reason, this printed off is super small, and my eyes.
Yeah, your printer was trying some new things today.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I was, okay. So willpower instead of the design of the house, right? Because you want to have the design of your home needs to be functioning correctly, to where things are moving. Even the systems are set in place, I guess.
Do you have it? I can read it if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So number 1 is the same corrections keep happening. You're saying the same thing to the same kids about the same situations. Nothing is sticking. That might not be a motivation problem, but a design problem.
Right. Okay. So here's where it kind of gets into my day-to-day life, right? Like, so right now our all of our systems and processes that I have set up for our family, that Haley and I have set up for our family, they're completely out the window.
Yeah.
Because Haley or I,
your whole household is like in different places.
Right. Is at the hospital 2 hours away. So regardless of who is at the home, it's almost like we're kind of single parenting it, right? So we're doing both duties of both husband and wife, regardless of who's here. And I don't normally have to get the kids ready for school in the morning. Like, that's just not like what I normally do.
Sure.
I'm normally gone to work.
Yeah.
And so I was learning I'm learning the routines of the morning, and it just felt like I am just butting my head up against the wall every single day, like telling the same kids to do the same things over and over and over. Why is this not clicking? Why are they not motivated to do this? Why are we not like doing the thing we're supposed to do to get ready to get out into the van so we're not running late to school?
Mm-hmm. Turns out kids really don't care about being late to school.
No, they do not.
Not really.
No. But it made me realize that, I'm not preparing them to succeed. I'm not setting them up for success. Because I didn't know that, Haley had a system and routine the night before to get them ready to where when they woke up, there were things already in motion.
Dad hack. You have them sleep in their uniform. Give them a clean uniform.
Before bed. Okay. These are your pajamas.
Clean clothes. These are your pajamas for the morning, for tonight. Bonus, you can wear your pajamas to school.
Caveat, not while we're potty training.
Caveat, not.
So anyway, I realized...
Yes. Not a perfect system. Okay.
But so I realized I was not like setting my kids up for success, right? Like the process wasn't in place. And so it made me realize that I'm sitting here saying the same thing to the same kid every single morning.
Yeah.
Why is it not clicking? And then I realized, it's because I wasn't setting them up for success. It wasn't because they didn't want to do the right thing. It's that I wasn't helping them move their will towards the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So
which is, this is very helpful in some things. There are other things that you might have. There's just some things about raising kids, like my son. I don't know how many times we've had to go through the discipline process because we don't hit girls. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's nothing systematically I can do to set them up here. We have a lot of girls. All right. It's a target-rich environment around my house. Okay, but there are a lot of things like you're talking about here where we can change the way we are thinking about these things. Getting ready for school is a great one, but also there's probably more important things that you could apply this to, like prayer life for your kids, or
dinner time, how we sit at the dinner table.
Exactly, right? Like things that would promote peace in the family.
That's right. Which is really kind of the number two, because that was actually kind of the examples, like morning chaos. The shoes are missing, the kids are dragging and like not moving fast. Nothing was built right the night before to make the morning smooth.
Right. Yeah.
And so you can work in the family, meaning like get those things done every single morning, or you can work on the family where it's like, okay, if that's the case, then we need to set our shoes out the night before. We need to have our uniform ready to go. You do the things and create kind of systems and processes, so to speak, for the family so that way they can succeed.
Number 3, so this is sort of just commenting on the first 2, is that your presence is the only thing holding it together. When you are around, things work. When you're traveling or gone, everything slips. A household that depends on the man's constant presence has not been well built. It has been managed.
Right. And I think that's, that is a key factor, right? It's like, okay, when I'm gone, why is it that everything is falling apart? And that's a disservice also to your wife, right? Because when you are gone, then she's having to bear the brunt of all of that, because you haven't set it up to where you and her haven't set it up to where when one of you are gone, things will still run smoothly.
You know what? When things really fall apart is when my wife is gone. When she's gone, I mean, I know. I don't need to tell you that, bro.
Yeah. This has been my life.
Yeah, I mean that's when the wheels have fallen off, the rudder,
and you're in survival mode.
Like a great whale ripped the rudder off the ship.
Yeah, we
are adrift with the engine stuck on full throttle. We don't know
where we are going, what we're doing.
We cannot change directions.
Yeah. So anyway, so Kennebec talks about how the household should be well suited to serve the ends of marriage and the Christian perfection of all members. And so that made me think about like, okay, so it's not comfortable, it's not convenient, but it's suited for perfection. Okay, and then also like it's well suited to serve the ends of marriage. Okay, so what do you think that means? Like, what are the ends of marriage?
Yeah, so I kind of think that those are the same thing, that is suited to perfection, or like the telos of something, the end of something, is often translated in the Bible as, when it says be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect, it's this word telos. And that just means that what is its purpose? What is its end? And so I would say that something that is well suited for its ends in this case is that we are preparing to get to heaven, right? So that we're doing Christian training that we might build on virtues, learn how to gain self-mastery over ourselves, identify vices within our, so we have order, we have systems of discipline, we have rewards and consequences that are systematic within the household, whether by rule or by natural occurrence, so.
But it's not like you could put on the calendar. You can't just put on the calendar like, what am I going to do today? I'm going to raise my kids.
Right.
And then like at the end of the day, you say like, well, I raised my kids.
You can put it on the calendar, but
that's not how it works. How do you raise your kids? You raise your kids by coming together and them watching what you do.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And they're going to look at you and say like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And it's not a one-time thing. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to go raise my kids today. We're going to go do something together today. And then I raised my kids. This is just like the virtue, like building a habit of ordering towards the good, that like building a habit isn't just being truthful, isn't something like, I told the truth once today, so I have the habit of telling the truth. I have the virtue of telling the truth. This is a constant thing that you have to do, to build the virtue day in and day out.
The 3 telltale signs that your home is running on willpower instead of design. Finding out more from The Catholic Man Show. You want more on this episode? Just go to Podcast Central, EWTN.com/podcast, or subscribe wherever you like to stream, and you can always play catch up. I'm Ace McKay. Going to bow out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Remember to let God define who you are. And I'll see you next time with Catholics Coast to Coast.